Hi guys, welcome back to another video in the r/EntitledPeople subreddit. In today's Entitled People stories, we have a lunatic Karen that tries to kidnap an unaccompanied young-looking 16-year-old at the airport, as well as an entitled Kevin that demands a restaurant stay open an extra 4 hours after closing for his family. That sounds so fun, doesn't it? So let's just jump right into the stories. Karen once followed me at an airport because I was a lost child. This probably needs context before I start. Both my parents are divorced and live in 2 separate states. I live with my mom and grandparents in Nashville, Tennessee, while over school breaks I visit my dad in Rochester, New York. I've flown alone since I was 5, and when I turned 13, my parents said it was okay if I travel without an escort, as long as I text them when I'm boarding and when I land. Fair enough. This happened when I was 16. Now I don't look my age and never have. There's a bad combination in my family: short genes and a baby face. I was lucky enough to inherit both. To give you a rough image, I'm a 5-foot tall girl who weighs about 125 pounds with a baby face. Easy for people to mistake me as younger than I am. Well, flying was always the worst offense because I was alone. I always have bad anxiety and stutter a lot when I'm nervous, so it only adds to the age confusion more. I was coming back from New York and had a 2-hour layover in Baltimore. I decided to get some food at Chipotle. While I was eating at the food court, minding my own business and scrolling through my phone, this middle-aged, white, blonde woman with her 2 kids walk up to me. We'll just call her Karen. "Hi honey, are you okay?" "Yes, why do you ask?" "Well, you seem young and you're by yourself." Oh great, here we go again. This wasn't the first time this happened, so I calmly told her that I was fine, and thanks for the concern. Well, apparently, Karen didn't like my answer. Her tone soon changed from a caring, concerned citizen to a demanding bee. She told me I wasn't fine because I was a minor by myself and needed adult supervision to fly. She was correct about the minor part, but the supervision part was BS. I was flying Southwest, who allows anyone 12 and older to travel by themselves, but someone is still supervising you on the flight until you're 15. I did not need adult supervision to be in the airport past security alone, and I told her this. I politely asked her to leave me alone, and I understand the confusion. Karen wasn't having it. "You're lying." "How?" "I have kids, and I know the airport policy about minors." "Clearly you don't. I've already said I'm fine. Can you please leave me alone?" "No." "Where are your parents?" "Doesn't matter." "Yes, it does. I need to complain to them." At this point, I was getting annoyed. I didn't want to tell her about the fact my parents were divorced, but back then, I saw it was the only way for her to fully understand the situation and leave me alone. "Ma'am, I'm 16 years old. My mom is in Nashville waiting for me, and my dad is in New York. Neither of them are in this airport, and they both know I'm by myself and are okay with it. I'm allowed to have a layover by myself, and I'm not considered an unaccompanied minor when I'm 16 years old, according to the airline. Now please leave me alone." "No, you're lying." "How am I lying?" "I know you're lying because I have children. I know how rebellious they are, and you are definitely not 16 years old." I was getting mad at this point. For one, what right do you have to tell me how old I am? And secondly, your children look 7 and 5 years old. A little too young to be going through a teenage rebellion. I stood up, put my food in my bag, and told her, "I think I know how old I am. Where's your proof?" I took out my driver's license. Looking back, I probably shouldn't have, but I was desperate for her to go away. With not only my birthday, but the fact I had one in the first place signified I was 16 or older. I didn't want to show this lady my other information, so I let her see the birthday and nothing more. Karen wasn't going to swallow her pride and walk away. That still doesn't excuse you from walking around the airport by yourself. How do I know you aren't running away from home? I wanted to tell her that even if I was, it was none of her business. I repeated Southwest policy to her and told her that if she still didn't believe me, she could go on their website and check for herself or ask an employee. I then repeated for her to leave me alone or I'd get security. My bluff didn't seem to affect her. She said I wasn't going anywhere and I had to come with her and find my parents. I simply told her no and began reaching for my backpack. The Karen grabbed my wrist and started pulling me. I yanked my wrist away, grabbed my backpack, and started running. At that point, people were watching and her kids seemed distressed, but I didn't care. I made a run for my gate. Now, I'm not very athletic, but I'm definitely faster than this overweight single mom. I eventually made it to my gate and took a seat at one of the chairs. Still feeling uneasy, I told the lady at the gate what happened and that I was still shaken up. She understood and said if she saw a woman matching the description near the gate, she'd make sure she didn't come near me, and if she did, security would be alerted. Well, turns out my gut was right, and after about an hour, I saw her looking around the different gates. I told the lady and she nodded. She instructed me to get behind the desk as the Karen approached. Here's basically the conversation. "Excuse me, that child behind you is not allowed to be in the airport by herself." She turned to me and asked me if I was an unaccompanied minor. I answered no. If she's not an unaccompanied minor, then she can be in the airport by herself. She's lying. She can't be 16. She showed me a fake ID. "Oh, really?" She turned to me and asked to see my boarding pass. I gladly handed it to her. She reviewed it and said it looked fine. She then asked to see what I showed the Karen. I handed her my driver's license that she also said looked fine. Karen demanded the woman at the desk hand me over to her so she could take me to her gate and find my parents. This scared me. I knew I wasn't going anywhere with this woman, but it didn't stop me from being scared. "Ma'am, is this girl your child?" "No." "Then I'm afraid I cannot give her to you. I can assure you she's in good hands." "No, she's not, because she's rebellious and lying. I'm clearly more qualified to take care of her considering I have children and you don't." That did it. At this point, I could feel a panic attack coming on. The nice woman must have noticed this. She told the Karen that either she goes to her gate and leaves me alone or security will be called. Karen huffed and puffed, saying the front desk lady didn't know her own airline policies and she'll be calling 911 for child endangerment, and Southwest was going to get shut down for this. The lady at the desk only nodded. After Karen was done with her rant, she walked away before security could come. Before she left, the lady asked her name so she could file a complaint for her. An obvious lie, and she told her, "We'll just keep her name as Karen." The lady at the desk offered to find her gate, inform them of what happened, and made sure she didn't leave her gate to make me feel safer. I agreed, and we found her gate was in the international terminal. Knowing this woman wanted to take me to a completely different terminal, the international terminal no less, made me even more scared, but I was assured everything was going to be alright. Her gate was informed about the situation, and they said that they would make sure she wouldn't leave the terminal once she arrived. It made me feel a lot better. I'm 19 now and still haven't grown taller. I'm in college now and still fly by myself. I'm still a little shaken up from the whole thing, but I still fly on my own. But I make sure to carry around my ID and passport if anyone asked if I needed help. I'd quickly answer no and walk away. That may make me look more suspicious, but I don't care. I'd rather come across as rude than have to deal with another crazy Karen. What did I just read? Why did that woman go to that extent? There is trying to be helpful, and then there is being a total lunatic. This woman was not being helpful. Like, what was Karen's grandmaster plan? To prove OP was lying about being 16 so she could kidnap her and add her to her mini Karen army? I really have no idea what that woman's intentions were with OP, but the whole thing just seems so bizarre and could have gone so badly. I'm glad the employees helped OP and she got away safely, but honestly, I wish they did more. Even called the police, perhaps. Entitled customer mad that I won't keep the restaurant open until 12 a.m. so he can ring in the new year. This was about 4 years ago, but I just remembered about it now. When I was 18, I was a manager at a mom and pop restaurant that was connected to a hotel. The holidays were always super busy, but mainly big groups of family who would come into town together for vacation. A week before New Year's, I got a call from a hotel guest asking if we would be willing to keep the restaurant open until 12 a.m. so he and his family of 10, 6 kids, 4 adults, could ring in the new year there. I get them all wanting to be together and can't hate someone for trying. I explained to him that because it was New Year's, our normal closing time of 9 p.m. would actually be changed to 8 p.m. This was not my idea, but the owner's. He then started yelling at me, telling me it was inappropriate, and it shows poor work ethic to leave early. He then asked me how in the world I thought it was okay for us to close early so we can all go drink and party, when he wanted to dine there and give us extra business. I let him know that it was not my decision but the owner's, and the reason we were closing early was because we were understaffed, and those working the night shift would have to be back in the morning time to open the restaurant, and we wanted to ensure everyone would get enough rest to work a busy breakfast shift. He then told me that we should have been smart enough to hire more people on for the holidays. Right, because it's so easy to hire temporary people to work Christmas and New Year's. While we were understaffed, my excuse to him wasn't entirely true, but it was the best I could come up with at that time. I would like to think if this situation happened now, I would tell him that service industry workers deserve time off to celebrate the holidays just as much as they do. I have no patience for customers like this. I wouldn't be rude or anything, I just don't argue with people like this. All I would have said is, the place will be closed, owner's orders. Not my call, not my responsibility. Have a great new year and bye. Like, who does he think he is? Oh, you're a financial advisor? Well, I think I need some financial advisory on Easter until 1 a.m. You're cool with keeping your office open until then for my business, right? Like, geez. I mean, clearly he's not, because if he were, he'd know from a business standpoint, it makes absolutely no sense to stay open 4 extra hours for 4 adults and 6 kids. Good grief. Anyways, that is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed those 2 Entitled People stories. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit stories. Bye! Oh, Looney, you're crazy this week, aren't you? Go meow, 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 meow. So you go meow, 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 meow. Oh, now that I want you to meow, you're suddenly quiet. Go meow, 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 meow. Say hi. Say hi to the people. Una. You're a little shit.